Hey there, Bills Mafia. It's your favorite source for all things Buffalo, coming at you with some red-hot updates from Orchard Park. Before we dive into today's story, which could shake up the WR room and possibly redefine the Bills Super Bowl push, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe so you never miss the latest insider buzz and big-time Bills moves. This team is hungry. They're working every day to sharpen their edge, and we're right here with them, bringing you every step of the journey. Now let's get into it. Listen, we all felt that heartbreak last season, just one game short of the Super Bowl again. But here's the thing, this Buffalo Bills team is not backing down. They're loading up. Joey Bosa in the fold, Joshua Palmer ready to step up. But as good as that sounds, there's one big piece still missing from this puzzle. A true electric wide receiver to pair with Josh Allen's cannon of an arm. And folks, the clock is ticking. Championship windows don't stay open forever. Ask any fan in Green Bay or Seattle. The time to get aggressive is now. And wouldn't you know it, a possible blockbuster move is staring us in the face. Now here's where things get spicy. NFL insider Albert Breer recently dropped a nugget that's sending ripples through the league, suggesting that Lions WR Jameson Williams could be a realistic trade target. Yup, the same guy who torched defenses for over 1,000 yards and racked up 7 touchdowns last season. The same Jameson Williams who was a first-round pick just 2 years ago. Breer pointed out that Williams hasn't had his 5th-year option picked up, and if Detroit isn't planning a blockbuster extension, they may just let him go. That's where Buffalo could and should swoop in. Look, the Bills tried to get Amari Cooper at last year's deadline, and that didn't pan out. But Jameson, this guy is 23 years old and would instantly become the most explosive playmaker. In our receiving core, he's a walking big play, and you know Josh Allen needs someone who can turn his 60-yard rockets into highlight reel touchdowns. Now, before we get ahead of ourselves, let's talk price. Williams won't come cheap. We're probably talking about a day 2 draft pick, maybe a second rounder, and Buffalo would need to be ready to pay up with an extension in the next year or so. But here's the deal. When you're this close to a Super Bowl, you don't nickel and dime. Think about what Stephon Diggs brought to this team when we made that trade. Now imagine a younger, faster version, hungry to prove he's worth WR1 money. That's the kind of fire we need right now. Speaking of contracts, we got another headline out of One Bills Drive, and it's all about James Cook. Yeah, that. James Cook. The guy who just posted his 2nd straight 1,000-yard season and tied a franchise record with 16 touchdowns. But here's the twist. Cook was noticeably absent from voluntary workouts this week. And while GM Brandon Beane played it cool, reminding everyone these workouts are optional, the timing is raising some eyebrows. Cook is entering the final year of his rookie deal and has made it crystal clear what he wants. Remember back in February when he pinned that Instagram comment? $15 million a year. That would put him right behind Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey, the 2 highest paid RBs in football. So the question is, do the Bills see Cook as a long-term piece? Or is there a chance, however small, that he becomes a trade chip to build elsewhere? And here's where things really heat up. Remember Ray Davis, the rookie running back we picked in the 4th round last year? In the one game Cook missed in 2024, Davis exploded for 152 scrimmage yards. That's not just a fluke. That's potential. NFL analyst Sterling C. even named Cook as Buffalo's most likely post-draft trade candidate. With GM Beane's track record of drafting and replacing RBs, first McCoy, then Singletary, now possibly Cook, you start to wonder if Davis is next in line. But let's not forget, Cook's market value is pushing $41 million over 4 years. If the Bills know they're not going to pay that, trading them now for future draft capital could be the most cost-effective move. Then again, you could ride it out, try to win it all with him in 2025, and get that sweet compensatory pick in 2026. So let's piece this all together. Bills Mafia. On one hand, you've got a potential trade for a high-octane WR in Jameson Williams, a guy who could transform the offense and help Josh Allen finally conquer the AFC. On the other hand, you've got your star running back possibly heading out the door after this season, if not sooner. And we haven't even hit draft night yet. This front office has options. They have draft capital, they have roster flexibility, and they have the motivation to go all in. This isn't a team rebuilding. This is a team chasing history. And that means tough decisions, bold moves, and maybe even one or two shockers. Now let's talk about it. The Bills' voluntary offseason workouts kicked off this week, and one thing stood out immediately. Josh Allen is locked in. The guy is fresh off an MVP season, and he's already back in the building putting in that work. But here's the headline. He's not just working. He's working with a mission. And that mission? Build a connection with second-year wide receiver Keon Coleman. We all know Coleman's rookie season didn't live up to the hype. He flashed that big playability early on, but injuries and inconsistency slowed him down as the season wore on. In total, 29 catches, 556 yards, and 4 touchdowns over 13 games. Solid, but not eye-popping. 4 missed games with that wrist injury didn't help either. But Josh Allen? He's not giving up on Keon. In fact, he believes in him more than ever. And if you ask me, that's a pretty big deal. When Josh met with the media this week, he didn't dodge the topic. Reporters asked him about Keon's dip in production, and Allen, like the leader he is, kept it real. He said the two of them are focused on getting as many reps as possible this offseason. Not just throwing routes on air, but communicating, building trust, refining timing. Allen talked about body mechanics, about learning how Coleman signals that he's ready for the ball. Back shoulder, high point, low, 50-50 balls. It's all about nuance, and Josh knows that if they can sync up, this offense becomes deadly. Here's a direct quote from Allen. The more reps you get, the better you get. Just trying to build those reps and get on the same page. Now let me ask you, how many quarterbacks fresh off an MVP season are disinvested in a second-year wideout? That tells me everything I need to know about Allen as a teammate and what the Bills think Keon Coleman can become. And let's not forget, Keon is still just 21 years old. That's right. The guy is younger than some draft picks coming in. This year, Allen mentioned that Coleman has already added muscle this offseason and looks stronger. That's important, especially when you're trying to be a physical presence at the line of scrimmage and compete for contested catches. But what really stood out? Coleman's mindset. Josh told the media that Keon has been texting him long messages about wanting to be better, about grinding, about working to develop that elite level chemistry. That's the kind of accountability and drive that separates the good from the great. Coleman's not just relying on talent, he's putting in the work. Let's just zoom out for a second. The Bills just traded away Stephon Diggs. Gabe Davis is gone. They brought in Josh Palmer, solid pickup. But this WR room is young. Coleman is being looked at as a future WR1. That comes with pressure. But here's what gives me hope. Josh Allen sees something in Keon. He's investing time, reps, and leadership into this kid. And the organization clearly believes too. GM Brandon Beane and Coach McDermott have made it clear. They expect a leap from Coleman in year 2. Think about this for a moment. If Coleman develops into a legitimate number 1 receiver with Josh Allen at quarterback, the Bills may not have missed a beat after moving on from Diggs. They may have gotten younger, more explosive, and more balanced as an offense. Let's put some context on it. Coleman had 556 receiving yards in 13 games and 4 touchdowns as a rookie. That's with limited chemistry, a wrist injury, and no defined role in the offense. Compare that to other young breakout receivers in recent years. Many of them made their jump in year 2. If Coleman stays healthy, builds rapport with Allen, and gets featured in the offense, you're potentially looking at an 801,000-yard season. And we all know how dangerous Allen is when he trusts his targets. Just look at the bond he had with Diggs in their first few seasons. If Coleman becomes that guy, defenses are going to have serious problems trying to stop this offense. But it's not just about numbers, it's about growth, development, mental, toughness. And Coleman seems to be embracing all of that. He knows what's expected. And Josh Allen's mentorship is setting him up for success. Let's also give credit to the rest of the WR room. Veterans like Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir, and even Palmer are all part of this new chapter. There's a lot of hungry players in this group, guys with something to prove. Coleman's going to have every opportunity to earn a starring role. He has the physical tools. Now, it's all about refinement. We have to take a moment to appreciate what Josh Allen is doing here. We all know he's a warrior on the field, but what we're seeing now is the next level. Allen the mentor, Allen the captain. He's going out of his way to help a young receiver find his way. That's how you build long-term success in this league. That's how dynasties are born. It's one thing to throw touchdowns. It's another to elevate the players around you. And Allen's doing both. Let's not forget, he didn't have that kind of mentorship early in his career. He had to figure it out the hard way. So now he's making sure Coleman doesn't have to. So now it's your turn, Bills Mafia. Would you trade for Jameson Williams? Would you move on from James Cook if it meant bringing in another weapon or more picks? Or do you think we ride this thing out and go all in for the Super Bowl with the guys we've got? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear from every corner of Buffalo and beyond. And if you enjoyed this update, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a single story. This season is shaping up to be one for the ages. And we'll be right here bringing you every twist, turn, and touchdown. Go Bills!